It was a beautiful Saturday in June, my 68th birthday. The sun was warm, the sky was clear, and my daughter Lisa had planned the perfect party. She'd invited everyone, my neighbors, my book club ladies, my son Tom Jr. and his family. She'd strung lights across the back porch, set up tables in the garden, even hung old photo albums on a clothesline for people to look through. Pictures of our family over the years, Lisa as a baby, her brother Tommy, my late husband Tom smiling in his favorite chair. The lemon cake, my favorite, sat on the dining room table, homemade. Lisa knew I loved it, and then she stood up to give a speech. "I want to thank everyone for coming," she said. She was wearing a blue dress, the one I'd helped her pick out for her real estate open houses. She looked beautiful. "And I especially want to thank my mom." Everyone turned to look at me. I smiled. My coffee cup was warm in my hands. "Mom taught us that family comes first," Lisa continued, "that you take care of the people you love, no matter what. She showed us that every single day. When Dad died, she kept us together. She worked 2 jobs to put me through college. She was there for every birthday, every graduation, every hard moment." People were nodding. Margaret, my neighbor, reached over and squeezed my hand. "She taught us what family means," Lisa said. Her voice was soft, emotional. "And I hope I can be half the mother she's been to me." Everyone clapped. My son Tom Jr. had tears in his eyes. I smiled wider, and I wanted to scream. Because that morning, 7 hours before the party started, I'd been sitting at my kitchen table, drinking my coffee, paying bills online like I did every month. I'd logged into my bank account, checked my checking, my savings, and then my 401k, the retirement account I'd spent 43 years building. Every paycheck as a middle school English teacher, every summer school session, every penny I could save after Tom died. The balance should have been $487,000. It showed 0. I stared at the screen, blinked, refreshed the page, still 0. My hands started shaking. The coffee cup rattled against the saucer. I set it down before I dropped it. My chest felt tight. I couldn't breathe right. $487,000. Gone. I clicked on the transaction history, June 15th. 8:47 that morning. Electronic transfer. $487,000. Transferred out. Authorization. Power of attorney. The name on the authorization, Lisa Chen. My daughter. I sat there. The kitchen was silent except for the clock ticking. I looked at my phone. Lisa had texted me an hour earlier. "Can't wait for the party, Mom. Everything's all set. Love you. Love you." I looked back at the screen. 0 balance. Power of attorney. I never gave her power of attorney. Now, 7 hours later, I stood in my backyard. Lisa was hugging me. Everyone was clapping, taking photos. Margaret was crying happy tears. "Happy birthday, Mom," Lisa whispered in my ear. "You deserve everything." I hugged her back, smiled for the cameras, and I knew. She knew. She knew when she planned this party. She knew when she made that cake. She knew when she wrote that speech about family coming first. She'd emptied my retirement account that morning, and now she was standing in my garden telling everyone what a wonderful mother I was. My name is Carol Anderson. I'm 68 years old. For 35 years, I taught English at Roosevelt Middle School in our town in Ohio, 7th and 8th graders. I loved it. The books, the discussions, watching kids discover they could write. I retired 3 years ago. Tom, my husband, had died 5 years before that. Heart attack. He was 63, too young. We'd planned to travel after I retired, see the national parks, maybe take a cruise. We never got the chance. After he died, I stayed in our house, the same ranch-style home we'd bought 42 years ago when Tommy was a baby. 3 bedrooms, a big backyard with a garden. It's paid off. Tom made sure of that. He was careful about money, always thinking ahead. That retirement account, my 401k, became everything after Tom died. My security. I'd been contributing to it since my first teaching job. Tom added his life insurance payout to it when he got sick, said he wanted to make sure I'd be taken care of. $487,000. Not a fortune, but enough. Enough to live on. Enough to feel safe. Over the years, I gave Lisa what I could. I wanted to help. She's my daughter. $45,000 for college. I taught summer school 6 straight years to cover it. $30,000 for her first house down payment. I took that from my retirement fund early, paid the penalty. $25,000 for her divorce lawyer in 2019 when her marriage fell apart. $18,000 for the kids' private school from 2020 to 2022. She said public school wasn't safe after COVID. $118,000 over 20 years. I thought I was helping her build a life. I thought I was being a good mother. I never thought she'd come back for more, for all of it. Lisa had struggled since her divorce 5 years ago. I knew that. Tom Jr. mentioned she'd been stressed about money lately. Her real estate commissions were inconsistent. Good months and bad months. I didn't pry. I respected her privacy. 6 months ago, she asked to borrow $15,000. For Emily's orthodontics, she said. Emily's my granddaughter. She's 12 now. I said no. For the first time in Lisa's life, I said no. I just paid for the kids' school for 2 years. My own roof needed repairs. I was trying to be careful. Tom Jr., my son, had told me I needed to think about my own future, stop giving everything away, so I said no. Lisa went cold after that, stopped bringing the kids by for our weekly Sunday dinners, said she was busy, said the kids had activities. When I called, she'd answer, but the conversations were short, polite, distant. I told myself she just needed space, that she'd come around. I didn't want to be that mother who always said no, the one who made her kids beg for help. Looking back now, I realize that was my mistake. I'd given her emergency access to my bank accounts 2 years earlier, just in case something happened to me, I'd said. Just so someone could pay my bills if I got sick. I thought I was being prepared. Turns out I was being naive. Margaret, my neighbor, noticed the change in Lisa before I did. Margaret's 71, retired nurse. Her husband died 8 years ago. She's lived next door for 15 years. We have coffee together most mornings in my kitchen. She knows everything. I saw Lisa's car here last week, Margaret said one morning in March. She didn't come to the door? She was just dropping something off, I said. I didn't mention that Lisa had barely said hello, just handed me a folder labeled Mom's Important Docs and said she was organizing my paperwork. Margaret looked at me over her coffee cup. Everything okay with you two? She's just busy, I said. Margaret didn't say anything else, but I could tell she didn't believe me. Margaret's like that. She sees things. Sometimes she's too nosy, but she means well. She wants to keep the neighborhood close as we all get older. She worries about people being alone. My son Tommy, Tom Jr., lives 2 hours away in Columbus with his wife Jennifer and their son Marcus. He's 7. Tommy's an accountant, responsible, steady. He calls me every Sunday morning at 8 without fail, has since he moved away 20 years ago. He tried to keep the peace between Lisa and me. That was always his role, the mediator. Mom, she's just stressed, he'd say when I mentioned Lisa seemed distant. Give her time. She'll come around. Tommy didn't like conflict. Never did, even as a kid. When Lisa and he would fight, he'd be the one to apologize first, even if it wasn't his fault. He just wanted everyone to get along. I understood that. I was the same way. After the party, after everyone left and I cleaned up the cake plates and took down the lights, I sat in my garden. My hands were still shaking. I tried to water the tomatoes, but the hose spray kept missing the plants, hitting the sidewalk instead. I went inside. Looked at Tom's photo on the mantle, the one from our trip to Yellowstone. He's wearing his favorite flannel shirt, smiling. You would know what to do, I said to the photo. You always knew. But Tom wasn't there. And I was alone with a bank account that showed 0 and a daughter who'd stolen everything I had. That night, I finally opened my laptop again. I'd been avoiding it since that morning, afraid to see the numbers again. But I needed to understand. I logged into my account, downloaded the 401k statement. The transaction history loaded slowly. June 15th, 8:47 in the morning. Electronic transfer, $487,000. Destination, external account. Authorization method, power of attorney. I clicked on the authorization details. Document on file. Power of attorney, dated March 15, 2024. Notarized. Carol Anderson, grantor. Lisa Chen, attorney-in-fact. I stared at that date. March 15th. I'd been in Philadelphia on March 15th, visiting Tommy and his family for Marcus's birthday. I had the plane tickets in my desk drawer. I'd been gone for 4 days. I never signed a power of attorney. I couldn't have. I wasn't even in the state. My chest went tight again. My hands were cold. Lisa had forged it. She'd forged my signature, filed fake documents with my retirement company, and then she'd transferred every penny I had. And then she'd planned my birthday party, made my favorite cake, given a speech about family. I closed the laptop, sat there in the dark kitchen. The clock on the wall ticked. The house was too quiet. I didn't know what to do. She was my daughter, but she'd stolen my future. Monday morning, I called Fidelity, the 401k company. I'd barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that zero balance. The representative answered on the third ring. Professional. Efficient. I need to report unauthorized access to my account, I said. My voice was steadier than I expected. I'm sorry to hear that, Mrs. Anderson. Let me pull up your account. Keys clicking on her end. I see a large transfer was authorized on June 15th using a power of attorney. I never signed a power of attorney. There was a pause. We have a notarized document on file, ma'am. The signature matched our verification process when it was submitted 8 months ago. 8 months ago, while I was still giving Lisa money for the kids' school, while we were still having Sunday dinners. Can you email me a copy of that document? I asked. Of course. Give me just a moment. I hung up, sat at my kitchen table, waited for the email to come through. My coffee had gone cold. I didn't bother reheating it. The email arrived. I opened the attachment. Power of attorney document. My name, Lisa's name, a notary seal, and my signature at the bottom. Except it wasn't my signature. It was close. Very close. But the loop on the C in Carol was slightly different. The way I cross my A's, Lisa had gotten that wrong. I stared at it. My daughter had forged my signature. I needed to find my own power of attorney documents, the ones Tom and I had made years ago. They were in my filing cabinet somewhere. I went to my home office, the spare bedroom where I kept my desk and files. I opened the cabinet, started going through folders, tax returns, insurance policies, Tom's death certificate, and then I found a folder I didn't recognize. It was labeled Mom's Important Docs in Lisa's handwriting, the folder she'd dropped off in March. The one she said was for organizing my paperwork. I opened it. Inside was a copy of the forged power of attorney, the same one Fidelity had on file. Lisa had left me a copy, like it was legitimate. My hands went cold. She'd planned this. Filed the fake paperwork with my retirement company, then left a copy at my house, in case I ever questioned it. So I'd think I'd just forgotten. I looked at the date again, March 15th. I went to my desk, pulled open the drawer where I kept old tickets and receipts, found what I was looking for, plane tickets to Philadelphia, March 13th through March 17th. I'd stayed with Tommy and Jennifer for Marcus's birthday. I held the tickets next to the power of attorney document. I couldn't have signed this. I wasn't even in Ohio on March 15th. I needed to call Lisa, confront her, but my hands were shaking again. I picked up my phone, dialed her number. She answered on the second ring. "Hey, Mom," she said, cheerful, like nothing was wrong. "Thank you again for such a wonderful birthday party. Everyone had such a nice time." "Lisa," I said, "I need to ask you something about a power of attorney document." Silence on the other end, just for a second. Then, "Oh, that. Mom, don't you remember? We did that together, at your kitchen table. You said you wanted to make sure someone could handle things if you got sick." "I don't remember signing anything." "Mom." Her voice got softer, concerned. "You've been forgetting things lately. Remember when you couldn't find your car keys last month? They were in the refrigerator." That had happened. Once. I'd been distracted. Put the keys down while putting away groceries. "That was one time," I said. "And you asked me the same question twice at Christmas, about when Tommy was arriving." She paused. "I'm worried about you. Maybe we should talk to your doctor about memory issues." I felt myself starting to doubt. Was I forgetting? Was I losing my memory? Then I looked down at the plane tickets in my hand, March 13th through 17th. "Lisa," I said, "this power of attorney is dated March 15th. I was in Philadelphia visiting Tommy that week. I have the plane tickets right here." Another pause. Longer this time. "Are you sure?" she asked. "Maybe you're confused about the dates." "I'm not confused. I couldn't have signed this. I wasn't home." "Mom, I think you need to rest. You're stressed. The birthday party was a lot. Maybe you should take a nap." She was deflecting, gaslighting. I could hear it now. "I need to go," I said. I hung up, sat there. My heart was pounding. She'd tried to make me think I was losing my memory. She'd almost succeeded. I checked my other accounts, logged into my checking, my savings. Both were untouched. She'd only taken the 401k, the biggest account, the one with everything. I heard footsteps on my front porch, a knock at the door. I quickly closed my laptop, shoved the power of attorney document and plane tickets into my desk drawer. My heart was racing. I opened the door. It was Lisa. "Hi, Mom," she said. She was smiling, holding a plate covered in foil. "I brought you some leftover cake. I thought you might want it." "Oh," I said. "Thank you." She stepped inside, looked around. "Were you on your computer? I hope I'm not interrupting." "No," I said, "just checking email." She set the cake on the kitchen counter, looked at me, really looked at me, like she was trying to read something. "Everything okay?" she asked. "I'm fine," I said, "just tired from the party." "You sure?" She glanced toward my office. The door was open. My desk was visible, papers spread out. "I'm sure," I said, smiled. "Thank you for the cake." She hugged me, kissed my cheek. "Love you, Mom." "Love you too," I said automatically. She left. I watched her car pull away from the curb. Then I went back to my office, closed the door, locked it. She'd come to check on me, to see if I knew, to see if I was investigating. I sat at my desk, hands shaking. I couldn't confront her myself. She was too good at this, too good at making me doubt myself. That afternoon, Margaret came by. She brought a casserole I didn't ask for, tuna noodle. She set it on my counter and looked at me. "You look terrible," she said. I started crying, just sat down at the kitchen table and cried. Margaret sat next to me. Didn't say anything, just held my hand. When I could talk, I told her. Not everything, but enough. The money, the forged signature, Lisa's visit. "You need a lawyer," Margaret said. "She's my daughter. She stole from you." Margaret's voice was firm, kind but firm. "Carol, you need help, real help." She pulled out her phone, scrolled through her contacts. "Eleanor Kim. She's an elder law attorney. She helped my friend Barbara when Barbara's son took money from her. She's good, and she's tough." I took the phone number, stared at it. "I don't know if I can do this," I said. "You can," Margaret said. "And you're not alone. I'm right next door." That night, I sat in my garden, tried to water the plants, but I kept thinking about Lisa's face when she dropped off that cake, the way she'd look toward my office, checking, watching. I went inside, called the number Margaret had given me, got Eleanor Kim's voicemail, left a message. "My name is Carol Anderson," I said. "I think my daughter stole my retirement account. I need help." Eleanor Kim's office was in a converted house downtown. Beige walls, shelves full of legal books, a large desk with neat stacks of files. Behind her desk was a wall of photos, elderly people, smiling. Her clients, I realized. She was 50-something, professional. She wore a dark blazer and had reading glasses on a chain around her neck. When she shook my hand, her grip was firm. "Mrs. Anderson," she said, "please sit down." I sat in the chair across from her desk, set my purse in my lap. My hands wouldn't stop fidgeting. "Tell me what happened," she said. She had a notepad, a pen, ready. I told her. The birthday party, the $487,000, the power of attorney I never signed, Lisa's visit with the cake. Eleanor listened, took notes, didn't interrupt. When I finished, she said, "Do you have the power of attorney document?" I pulled out the copy I'd printed, the one from Fidelity, set it on her desk. Eleanor put on her reading glasses, pulled out a magnifying glass from her drawer, studied the document carefully. The office was quiet except for the air conditioning humming. I watched her examine every line, every word, the seal, my signature. She was quiet for a long time. Finally, she looked up at me. "This notary seal is fake," she said. My chest went tight. "Are you sure?" She turned the paper toward me, pointed with her pen. "See the spacing here? Between these letters? It's wrong. Notary seals have very specific formatting. This is off by about 2 millimeters. I leaned forward, looked closer. I couldn't see what she was seeing. It looked real to me. "And look at the name," Eleanor continued. "Richard Martinez, Notary Public, Franklin County." She pulled out her laptop, typed something, turned the screen toward me. "Richard Martinez was a notary in this county, but he died in February of 2022, 2 years before this document was supposedly notarized." My hands went cold. I stared at the document, at the signature, at the seal. "So Lisa forged it," I said. "Yes?" Eleanor set the magnifying glass down, folded her hands on the desk. "And that's prosecutable fraud. Federal fraud if she used the mail or electronic transmission to file it with your retirement company, which she did." I sat there. The air conditioning felt too cold. My daughter had forged my signature, created a fake notary seal, filed fraudulent documents. I looked at Eleanor. How long had she been planning this? According to the date on this document, since at least March, but probably longer. Eleanor's voice was kind but firm. "This wasn't impulsive, Mrs. Anderson. She studied your signature, found someone to create a fake seal, or created it herself, researched how to file power of attorney documents, waited for the right time. I sat there looking at that document, Lisa's signature as witness, the fake notary stamp, the forged version of my own handwriting, and I realized this wasn't a moment of desperation. This wasn't a mistake. She'd been planning this for months, maybe longer. My daughter, my firstborn, the little girl I'd raised alone after Tom died, she'd studied my signature like a criminal, practiced it, perfected it. Then she'd filed fake paperwork and waited until my 68th birthday to take everything, and I never saw it coming. Eleanor was talking. I forced myself to focus. "I also need to confirm something," she said. "You mentioned you were in Philadelphia on March 15th. Do you have proof?" I pulled out the plane tickets, set them next to the power of attorney. Eleanor looked at them, nodded, made notes. "This is good. Very good. You couldn't have signed this. You weren't even in the state." She opened a file folder, pulled out a form. "I'm going to need a letter from your doctor as well, confirming that you have no cognitive impairment, that you're of sound mind. It will counter any argument that you gave verbal authorization and simply forgot." "She tried to tell me I was losing my memory," I said. My voice was quiet. On the phone, she said I'd been forgetting things. That's a common tactic. Eleanor's expression didn't change, but her eyes were kind. They gaslight, make you doubt yourself, make you think you're the problem. She handed me a business card for my doctor. "Get this letter. I'll need it within a week." I took the card. My hands were shaking. "What else do you have?" Eleanor asked. I showed her the bank records I'd printed, the transfer from Fidelity, $487,000 sent to an external account. Eleanor studied them. "Do you know where this money went?" "To Lisa's account, I assume." "We'll find out." She made more notes. I'm going to hire a forensic accountant. We'll trace every penny, where it went, what she did with it, if there's any left. She pulled up something on her computer, turned the screen toward me again. I'm also going to subpoena her email and phone records. With a power of attorney fraud case, we can do that. We'll see if there's any evidence of premeditation, communications about forging the seal, anything. I felt sick. This was my daughter we were investigating, my child, but she'd stolen my retirement. Mrs. Anderson, Eleanor said gently, this is going to be hard, but you need to know, we have a strong case. Forged signature, fake notary. You weren't even in the state when this was supposedly signed. The evidence is overwhelming. What happens now? I asked. I file a civil lawsuit for full restitution plus legal fees. Depending on what the forensic accountant finds, we may also pursue criminal charges, elder financial abuse, fraud, forgery. She paused. But I need to ask you, are you prepared for that? For your daughter to potentially face criminal charges? I looked at the document on her desk, the fake seal, the forged signature. I need my retirement back, I said. I can't retire without it. Then we proceed. Eleanor pulled out more forms. I'll need you to sign some documents, authorization for me to represent you, permission to subpoena records. Over the next hour, we went through everything. I signed forms, gave her copies of everything I had, the power of attorney, the bank records, the plane tickets. When we were done, Eleanor walked me to the door. Mrs. Anderson, she said, one more thing. Don't tell anyone we're building this case. Not your son, not your neighbors. No one except me. If Lisa finds out, she might try to hide assets, move money, make it harder to recover. What about Tom Jr.? I asked. My son, should I tell him? Eleanor hesitated. Does he talk to Lisa? Sometimes. He tries to keep the peace. Then no, not yet, not until we file. She squeezed my shoulder. I know this is hard, but surprise is on our side right now. I drove home. My hands gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles were white. The radio was on, but I didn't hear it. I just kept thinking about Eleanor's office, the magnifying glass, the fake seal. How did I raise someone who could do this? That evening, I made dinner, just for myself. Tom's chair was empty across from me, like it had been for 5 years. But tonight, the emptiness felt heavier. I'd lost my husband, now I was losing my daughter. Different losses, but both hurt. I was washing dishes when my phone rang. Tom Jr. Hey, Mom, he said. How are you? I almost told him, about Eleanor, about the lawsuit, but I remembered what Eleanor said. Surprise is on our side. I'm okay, I said. Just tired. Listen, I wanted to ask you something. He sounded uncomfortable. Lisa called me. She said you accused her of stealing from you? My stomach dropped. What did she say? She said you're confused, that you keep forgetting things, that you think your retirement account is missing, but you actually moved it yourself and forgot. He paused. Mom, are you okay? Do you need to see a doctor? She was getting ahead of this, telling Tommy I was losing my memory before I could tell him the truth. Tommy, I said carefully, I'm fine. My memory is fine, but I can't talk about this right now. Why not? I just can't. Trust me, please. There was a long silence. You're scaring me, Mom. I know, but I need you to trust me. Can you do that? Another pause. Okay, but if you need help, I'll call you, I promise. After I hung up, I sat at the kitchen table, stared at my phone. Lisa had called Tommy, told him I was confused, set the groundwork for her defense. She was smarter than I'd given her credit for. 2 days later, a package arrived. No return address, just my name and address on the label. Inside was a cashier's check, $50,000, and a note in Lisa's handwriting. Mom, I found an error in the account transfer. I'm returning these funds. I'm so sorry for the confusion. Love, Lisa. I called Eleanor immediately. She's scared, Eleanor said when I read her the note. She knows you're onto her. This is an admission of guilt. Should I? Cash it? Absolutely. Deposit it today. It's evidence that she knows she took the money illegally. People don't return money they think they're entitled to. I deposited the check. $50,000 back. $437,000 still missing. That night, Margaret came over with iced tea. We sat on my porch as the sun went down. "You haven't been in your garden in 3 days," she said. "I know." "Want to talk about it?" I wanted to, but Eleanor had said not to tell anyone. "Not yet," I said, "but soon, I promise." Margaret nodded, didn't push, just sat there with me while the crickets started chirping, and that was enough. Wednesday evening. The house was quiet. I'd gotten the doctor's letter Eleanor needed. Dr. Chen, no relation to Lisa, different spelling, had written a thorough evaluation. Mrs. Anderson shows no signs of cognitive impairment, memory intact, fully competent. I'd sent it to Eleanor that afternoon. Now I sat at my kitchen table, alone. The same table where we'd had Sunday dinners, where Lisa had helped me organize paperwork, where she'd supposedly had me sign a power of attorney I never signed. I'd been looking at old photos. I don't know why. Maybe I needed to remember who she used to be. There was one of Lisa at 8 years old. She was in the backyard, our old backyard before we moved to this house. She was holding dandelions. Her hair was in pigtails. Her smile showed the gap where her front tooth had fallen out. She'd picked those dandelions for me, brought them inside like they were roses. "You're the best mom in the world," she'd said. Put them in a jelly jar on the windowsill. They'd wilted by the next day, but I'd kept them there for a week. I remembered teaching her to read, the way she'd sound out words slowly, then faster. Then she'd discovered books, and I couldn't get her to put them down. She'd read under the covers with a flashlight after bedtime. I remembered her first day of middle school, how nervous she'd been. I'd driven her even though the bus stop was just at the corner. She'd hugged me before she got out of the car. "Thanks, Mom." Another photo, Lisa's college graduation. She was wearing her cap and gown, standing between Tom and me. We were both so proud. She'd worked hard, made Dean's List. She was going to be a teacher like me, she'd said. Help kids love books the way I'd taught her to. She never became a teacher, got into real estate instead, said there was more money in it. I looked at these photos. Then I looked at the document on my table. The forged power of attorney, my signature that wasn't my signature. 43 years of marriage to Tom, 43 years of teaching, and I couldn't recognize either of them now. The husband I'd lost to a heart attack, the daughter I'd lost to something else, something I didn't understand. I'd raised Lisa alone after Tom died. She was 27 when he passed, old enough to be on her own, but I'd still been there for everything. Her divorce, her kids, every time she needed money, every time she needed help. I thought I was being a good mother, but maybe I'd been enabling her all along, letting her take and take, without ever saying no, without ever teaching her that actions have consequences. Tom used to tell me I was too soft with the kids. "They need boundaries, Carol," he'd say. "They need to hear no sometimes." I'd thought he was too strict. Now I wondered if he'd been right. I got up from the table, walked down the hallway, looked at the photos on the wall, our family wall, pictures of Lisa through the years, Lisa and Tommy as kids, Lisa's wedding, Lisa with Emily and Jake when they were babies. I stood there for a long time. Then I started taking them down, not destroying them. These were still memories, still my daughter. But they didn't belong on this wall anymore. Not right now. I took down each frame carefully, one by one. There was dust underneath where they'd hung, outlines on the wall where the paint was brighter, nail holes that would need to be filled eventually. I carried the frames to my office, found a cardboard box, wrote 2024 on the side with a marker, placed each photo inside, closed the box, put it on the shelf, not thrown away, but not displayed. The hall wall looked empty now, gaps where the pictures had been, but I'd fill those spaces eventually with new photos, different ones. I went back to my office, sat at my desk, opened the filing cabinet again, started going through every piece of paper Lisa had ever touched. The folder she'd organized, the bills she'd said she was helping me with, the tax forms she'd offered to review. I found another document. A budget Lisa had given me 6 months ago when she asked for the $15,000. It showed her expenses, her mortgage, the kids' activities, car payments. I looked at it more closely now. The mortgage amount was wrong, higher than what she'd told me before. The car payment didn't match what I knew she drove. The expenses were inflated, made up. She'd been lying for longer than I thought, longer than the power of attorney. She'd been setting this up, making me think she was in worse financial trouble than she was, so when she asked for money, I'd believe her. And when I finally said no, she'd already had a backup plan. Take it all. I sat back in my chair. The house was silent except for the clock in the hallway ticking. I'd taught English for 35 years. I'd taught kids about character, about choices, about how actions define who we are. I'd taught them that family meant loyalty, support, being there for each other. But I'd never taught them that family didn't mean letting people take advantage of you, that saying no didn't make you selfish, that protecting yourself wasn't the same as abandoning someone. I'd learned those lessons too late with Lisa, but I was learning them now. I picked up my phone, called Eleanor. She answered on the second ring. "Mrs. Anderson." "File everything," I said. "Are you sure?" I looked at the box labeled 2024, the empty wall in my hallway, the forged document on my desk. I've never been more sure of anything. Civil suit for full restitution? Yes. And if that leads to criminal charges? I took a breath, let it out slowly. Then that's what happens. She made her choices. Now I'm making mine. Eleanor was quiet for a moment. Then, "I'll have the paperwork ready by tomorrow. You'll need to come in and sign." "I'll be there." "Carol," she said. Her voice was softer. "You're doing the right thing." I wasn't sure about that, but I knew I couldn't keep enabling her, couldn't keep sacrificing myself to protect her from consequences. I hung up, sat at the kitchen table, the same table where Lisa had given her speech about family coming first. She was right about that. Family does come first. But I'd had to learn that I was family too, and I come first now. My hands were steady as I signed the authorization forms Eleanor had emailed me. No shaking, no hesitation. Margaret knocked on my door as I was printing the documents. She had iced tea, 2 glasses. She set them on my porch railing. "You look different," she said. "Different how?" "Stronger." I didn't feel stronger. I felt tired, sad, but also certain. "I hired a lawyer," I said. "I'm suing Lisa for the money." Margaret nodded, like she'd been expecting this. "Good. You're not going to tell me to forgive her? To work it out in family?" "No." Margaret sat down, took a sip of her tea. "She stole from you. Actions have consequences, even for our children." We sat there as the sun went down. The crickets started chirping. A car drove by. Normal evening sounds. But nothing felt normal anymore. Tomorrow, Lisa would be served with legal papers. Tomorrow, she'd know I wasn't backing down. Tomorrow, everything would change. I didn't sleep that night, but I didn't cry either. The call from Tom Jr. came Thursday morning. I was in Eleanor's office signing the lawsuit papers. "Mom, what the hell is going on?" His voice was angry. I'd never heard him like this. "Lisa just called me crying. She said you're suing her?" I stepped outside Eleanor's office, into the hallway. "Tommy, I can't talk about this right now." "You're really doing this? Taking your own daughter to court?" "She stole from me. She made a mistake. She's getting help. Why can't you just work this out in the family?" I took a breath, tried to stay calm. "This isn't something we can work out." "Mom, she's your daughter, my sister. You're going to destroy our family over money?" "She destroyed it when she forged my signature." There was silence. Then his voice changed, got quieter. "Wait, what do you mean forged?" "The power of attorney. I never signed it. She wasn't even in the state when it was supposedly notarized." More silence. I could hear him thinking. "Tommy," I said, "has Lisa ever borrowed money from you?" He didn't answer right away. That told me everything. "How much?" I asked. "That's not—" He stopped, sighed. $30,000. Last year. She said it was for Emily's medical bills, emergency surgery. Did Emily have surgery? I don't know, I never asked. Did Lisa ever pay you back? Silence again. "Tommy," I said gently, "she's been doing this to both of us. Maybe others, too." I heard him sit down, a chair creaking. "Oh my God. I'm sorry. I know you wanted to keep the peace, but I can't protect her from this. I need to think." His voice was shaky. "I'll call you back." He hung up. I went back into Eleanor's office, finished signing the papers. "Everything okay?" Eleanor asked. "My son just found out his sister lied to him too." Eleanor nodded, like she'd seen this before. The patterns usually go back further than people realize. The lawsuit was filed that afternoon. Lisa would be served by Monday. That evening, Margaret called. "Carol, can you come over? I have some people I want you to meet." I walked next door. Margaret's living room was full. 4 women I recognized from book club: Diane, Susan, Patricia, all in their 60s and 70s. "Carol," Diane said, "Margaret told us what happened. We wanted you to know. You're not alone." Susan leaned forward. "My son took $40,000 from me 3 years ago. Said it was for his business. The business never existed." "I didn't prosecute," she continued. "I was too ashamed. Didn't want people to know. He still asks me for money, and I'm scared to say no." Patricia spoke up. "My daughter forged checks, cleaned out my savings, $22,000. By the time I found out, she'd spent it all." "Did you report it?" I asked. "No, she's my daughter. But I regret that now. She hasn't learned. She just got better at hiding it." We sat there, 5 women, all mothers, all betrayed by our own children. "You're doing the right thing," Diane said. "You're doing what we should have done." I felt less alone, for the first time since this started. 2 days later, Lisa's lawyer sent a letter. Settlement offer. Lisa would return $100,000. Carol drops all charges. Lisa admits no wrongdoing. I called Eleanor. 100,000? She has 437,000 left. "She's testing you," Eleanor said, "seeing if you'll take crumbs, if you'll settle just to make this go away." What should I do? What do you want to do? I thought about Susan, still scared of her son, still being manipulated, still giving him money. "No," I said. "I want all of it." Then we decline. 3 days later, the offer went up. 150,000, still not even half. "No," I said again. That's when the letter arrived, handwritten, Lisa's handwriting, addressed to me. I sat at my kitchen table, stared at the envelope. Part of me didn't want to open it. I opened it. "Mom, I know I made a mistake. I was desperate. The gambling got out of control after the divorce, and I didn't know how to ask for help. I kept thinking I could fix it on my own, pay you back before you noticed. I'm so sorry. I'm looking into treatment programs now. I'll get help, I promise. Please don't destroy our family over this. The kids are asking why they can't see Grandma anymore. Emily cries at night. I can't tell them what I did. Please, Mom. Let's work this out between us. Family comes first. You taught me that. Love, Lisa." I read it 3 times. My eyes blurred with tears. She was getting help. She admitted the gambling. She was sorry. Maybe I could drop the lawsuit. Maybe we could work this out, get her into treatment, set up a payment plan, keep the family together. I picked up my phone, started to dial Eleanor. Then I stopped. Read the letter again. She was sorry. She'd get help. But nowhere in this letter did she offer to return the money. All of it. She offered to work it out, which meant she'd return some, not all. And she was using Emily, using my granddaughter's tears to manipulate me. I called Eleanor. "She sent me a letter," I said. I was crying now. "She says she's sorry, that she'll get treatment." "Does she offer full restitution?" No, he just says we should work it out. Eleanor was quiet. Then, Carol, if she was really sorry, she'd return everything. This is manipulation. She's using your grandchildren as leverage. But what if she really does need help? What if I'm making it worse? You can't help someone by enabling them. You taught middle school, right? What did you tell students about consequences? I wiped my eyes. That actions have consequences, that we learn from our mistakes. Exactly. You're teaching her that now. It's just 30 years late. I hung up, looked at the letter again. Then I put it in a folder, filed it with the other evidence. I wasn't dropping the lawsuit. The next week, Lisa showed up at my house. I saw her car pull up. She got out, marched to my front door. Margaret was there. She'd come over for coffee. When Lisa started pounding on the door, Margaret stood up. "Don't open it," she said, but I did. Lisa pushed past me into my kitchen. "We need to talk." "Lisa, you need to leave." "After everything I've done for you?" Her voice was rising. "I planned your whole birthday party. I took care of you after Dad died, and this is how you repay me." "By suing you for stealing from me?" "I didn't steal. You gave me that power of attorney." "I was in Philadelphia when it was dated." "You're confused. You're forgetting things." Margaret stepped forward. "Lisa, your mother asked you to leave." Lisa turned on her. "This is none of your business." "I'm making it my business." Margaret pulled out her phone. "Leave now, or I'm calling the police." Lisa's face went red. She looked at me, then at Margaret, then back at me. "You're choosing her over me? Your neighbor over your daughter?" "I'm choosing myself," I said quietly. "Now please leave." Lisa grabbed her purse, headed for the door, turned back. "You'll regret this. When Emily and Jake grow up asking why they don't have a grandmother, you remember this moment." She slammed the door so hard a picture frame fell off the wall. Margaret and I stood there. My hands were shaking. "Are you okay?" Margaret asked. "No, but I will be." Margaret called the police anyway, filed a report, trespassing, threatening behavior. The officer who came took her statement, asked if I wanted a restraining order. "Not yet," I said, "but I'm keeping this report." Eleanor called 2 days later. The forensic accountant finished his report. And? It's worse than we thought. Lisa gambled away $180,000 at 3 different casinos over 18 months, spent $150,000 on lifestyle expenses, a leased car, designer clothes, spa treatments, vacations. The remaining $107,000 is in an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. I sat down. $180,000. Gone. Just gone. Can we recover the offshore money? Yes, that's actually the easy part, the casinos and spending. That's gone. But we can force her to liquidate assets, sell the car, return the clothes, and the offshore account is traceable. So how much can I actually get back? Realistically, around $400,000, maybe a bit more. She'll have to borrow from family or take loans to make up the difference. I thought about Tommy, the $30,000 he'd lent her. She'd probably ask him for more. That evening, a package arrived. No return address, just a USB drive in a padded envelope. I called Eleanor. "I got an anonymous package." "Don't open it yet. Bring it to my office tomorrow." The next day, Eleanor plugged the USB into her computer, opened the files. "This is..." She scrolled through emails, text messages, bank statements, casino receipts. "This is everything." "Who sent this?" "I don't know." Eleanor kept reading, then stopped. "These emails are between Lisa and her ex-husband from 2 years ago." She turned the screen toward me. "Lisa to David. I need more money. The casino is calling in my markers." David to Lisa. "I already gave you $50,000. I'm done." Lisa to David. "I'll tell the court you're hiding assets. You'll lose custody." She was blackmailing him, Eleanor said. We went through the rest of the files. More communications with casino hosts, credit card statements showing the spending, everything documented. Whoever sent this wanted you to win, Eleanor said. 3 days later, my chest started hurting. Sharp pains, pressure. I couldn't breathe right. Margaret drove me to the emergency room. They ran tests, EKG, blood work, chest x-ray. The doctor came back. It's not your heart, it's stress-induced, anxiety, your body's reacting to trauma. I'm fine, I said. Mrs. Anderson, you need to take care of yourself. This lawsuit, whatever's going on, it's taking a physical toll. Margaret sat next to my hospital bed, held my hand. Maybe you should stop, she said. Let it go. It's not worth your health. I looked at her. If I stop now, I'll never get my retirement back. I'll never be able to live without fear of running out of money, and Lisa will never learn. But if it kills you, it won't kill me, I'm tough. I squeezed her hand. Tougher than I thought. They kept me overnight for observation, sent me home with anxiety medication I didn't want to take. Tommy called that weekend. Mom, I've been thinking about what you said about Lisa. And I'll testify if you need me. About the $30,000 she never paid back, about the lies. My throat got tight. Are you sure? She's my sister. I love her, but you're my mom, and you deserve your money back. Thank you, I whispered. I'm sorry I didn't believe you at first. You wanted to keep the peace, I understand. After we hung up, I sat in my garden. The tomatoes were finally coming in. Late, but they came. I picked one, still warm from the sun. Margaret came out, brought iced tea without being asked. You're doing it, she said. Doing what? Fighting back, standing up for yourself. I'm proud of you. We sat there as the sun set, drinking tea, not talking, just being. And for the first time in weeks, I felt something close to peace. Eleanor called Monday morning. Mediation is scheduled 2 weeks from today. Lisa agreed to it. Her lawyer thinks they can negotiate a settlement. What do you think? I think we have her cornered. The evidence is overwhelming. The forensic report, the offshore account, your son's testimony, the USB files. She's going to have to settle or face criminal charges. And if she doesn't settle, then we go to trial, and she'll lose. 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, this would be over, one way or another. The mediation was scheduled for 10 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. Eleanor picked me up at 9:30. I'd barely slept. You ready? She asked as I got in her car. No, but let's do it anyway. The mediation office was downtown, a converted law firm, neutral territory. We took the elevator to the 3rd floor, walked down a quiet hallway. Beige carpet, bland art on the walls. The conference room was cold. The air conditioning was too high. There was a long table, chairs on both sides, a screen at one end for presentations. Lisa was already there, with her lawyer, David Chen. No relation to Lisa's ex-husband, different Chen. Lisa looked tired, thinner. Her hair wasn't styled the way she usually wore it. She didn't look at me when we walked in. The mediator arrived last. Judge Karen Walsh, retired professional, gray hair, reading glasses. She shook everyone's hands. Let's begin, she said. This is confidential. Nothing said here can be used in court if we don't reach a settlement. The goal is resolution without trial. Does everyone understand? We all nodded. Ms. Kim, you represent the plaintiff. Please present your opening statement. Eleanor stood, opened her folder. Your Honor, Lisa Chen stole $487,000 from her mother's retirement account using forged documents. We're seeking full restitution plus legal fees. The evidence is overwhelming. David Chen stood. Your Honor, Ms. Chen made financial errors, but she had verbal authorization from her mother. Mrs. Anderson's recent memory issues have created confusion about what was discussed and agreed upon. Memory issues. They were still trying that angle. Eleanor pulled out a document, slid it across the table. Mrs. Anderson's doctor has provided a letter confirming no cognitive impairment. Full mental capacity. This claim has no merit. David shifted. Nevertheless, there were verbal agreements. Let's look at the evidence, Eleanor interrupted. She pulled out the forged power of attorney, set it in the center of the table. This document is dated March 15th. Mrs. Anderson was in Philadelphia that week visiting her son. Here are her plane tickets. She set those down too. She could not have signed this. She pulled out another document. This is the notary seal. The spacing is incorrect. The notary, whose name appears, Richard Martinez, was deceased at the time of notarization. This is fraud. David looked at the documents, then at Lisa. Lisa's face had gone pale. Eleanor wasn't done. She pulled out more papers, bank statements. On June 15th, $487,000 was transferred from Mrs. Anderson's Fidelity account to an external account belonging to Lisa Chen. Within hours, Ms. Chen transferred the money to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. She projected emails on the screen. These are communications between Ms. Chen and an associate discussing creation of a fake notary seal, payment of $500 for the seal. Discussions about waiting for the right time. Lisa's lawyer was reading fast, trying to keep up. Furthermore, Eleanor continued, a forensic accountant traced the funds. $180,000 was gambled at 3 casinos over 18 months. $150,000 was spent on luxury items, a leased vehicle, designer purchases, spa treatments. $107,000 remains in the offshore account. She set down the forensic report, thick, detailed, undeniable. Mrs. Anderson's son has also come forward. Ms. Chen borrowed $30,000 from him under false pretenses, never repaid. The pattern is clear. David Chen called for a 10-minute recess. He and Lisa stepped out into the hallway. Eleanor and I sat there. Judge Walsh reviewed the documents. "This is pretty clear-cut," the judge said quietly, not to anyone in particular, just observing. When they came back, Lisa's eyes were red. She'd been crying, or maybe just trying to look like she had been. Judge Walsh spoke. "Ms. Chen, you have a chance to respond to these allegations." Lisa looked at me. Finally, for the first time all morning. "Mom, please," she said. Her voice was soft, shaking. "I was desperate. I didn't know what else to do." I kept my face neutral, didn't respond. The gambling got out of control. I kept thinking I could win it back, pay you back before you noticed. She wiped her eyes. "I thought you wouldn't miss it. You always said you had enough." Eleanor leaned forward. "Did Mrs. Anderson give you permission to take this money? She said family should help each other." "That's not what I asked. Did she give you specific permission to withdraw $487,000 from her retirement account?" Lisa looked down. "No." "Did she sign the power of attorney document?" "No." "Did you forge her signature?" Silence, then barely audible. "Yes." The room was quiet except for the air conditioning humming. "Why?" I asked, my first words all morning. "Why didn't you just ask me for help with the gambling?" Lisa looked up. "Because you just said no. To the $15,000. For the first time ever, you said no, and I realized you were done helping me, so I had to take it. I said no to a loan," I said. My voice was steady, calm. "I didn't say no to helping you get treatment. If you'd told me about the gambling, about how bad it was, I would have helped. I was ashamed. So instead you stole from me." I paused. Let that sit there. "You forged my signature. You drained my retirement account. Everything I worked for over 43 years. Gone." Lisa started crying. Real tears this time, I thought. But I wasn't sure. David Chen spoke up. "My client is willing to return $150,000 and enter a payment plan for the rest." "No," Eleanor said. "Full restitution, $437,000, plus $18,000 in legal fees. Total, $455,000. My client doesn't have that kind of money. Then she'll liquidate assets, sell the car, return purchases, empty the offshore account, borrow from family if she has to. But Mrs. Anderson will be made whole. Another recess, 15 minutes this time. Lisa and her lawyer went into a separate room. Judge Walsh looked at me. Mrs. Anderson, what outcome do you want here? I want my money back, I said. All of it. And if Ms. Chen can't pay in full immediately, then a payment plan with consequences. If she misses payments, criminal charges get filed automatically. Eleanor nodded. Good answer. They came back. David looked defeated. My client agrees to full restitution, $455,000, paid over 60 days in 3 installments. And the other terms, Eleanor said. No contact order for 1 year minimum. Ms. Chen enters a gambling treatment program, 90 days inpatient, followed by 2 years outpatient. If she completes treatment, the criminal charges are suspended. If she fails to pay or fails to complete treatment, charges proceed automatically. David looked at Lisa. She nodded. Barely. Judge Walsh pulled up the settlement document on her computer, started filling it in. Ms. Chen, I need to hear you confirm these terms. Lisa's voice was quiet. I agree. You'll pay $455,000 over 60 days? Yes. You'll enter gambling treatment? Yes. You'll have no contact with your mother for 1 year minimum? Lisa looked at me. Her eyes were wet. Yes. We signed. Both of us. Lisa's hand was shaking. Mine was steady. Judge Walsh witnessed, made it official. This is a binding agreement. Failure to comply will result in criminal prosecution. Do you both understand? Yes, we said, together, for the last time in a long time. When it was done, Lisa stood up, walked toward me. I thought she might try to hug me, but she stopped a few feet away. I really did need help, Mom, she whispered. I just didn't know how to ask. I looked at her, my daughter, my firstborn, the little girl who'd brought me dandelions. I wish you had asked, I said. I would have helped. But this, I gestured to the papers on the table. This wasn't asking, this was taking. She nodded, tears running down her face. Then she turned and walked out. David Chen followed her, left Eleanor and me alone with Judge Walsh. When the mediator read the settlement terms, I didn't feel triumphant. I felt tired, relieved, but mostly tired. This was my daughter, and now she was a stranger with a payment plan. Judge Walsh handed me a copy of the agreement. You did the right thing, Mrs. Anderson. I wasn't sure there was a right thing, but I knew I'd done the only thing I could. Eleanor drove me home. The first payment is due in 2 weeks. I'll monitor it. If she misses it, we move forward with criminal charges immediately. Do you think she'll pay? I think she's scared, and scared people usually comply, at least at first. We pulled up to my house. I got out, then turned back. Thank you for everything. You fought for yourself, Eleanor said. That's not easy, especially against family. I went inside. The house was quiet. I sat at my kitchen table, the same table where this all started, where I'd checked my bank account that Saturday morning, where I'd found out everything was gone. My phone buzzed. A notification from my bank. Deposit received. $50,000. First payment from the settlement. She'd paid immediately. Maybe she really was scared, or maybe she was trying to show good faith. Either way, it was a start. I sat there for a long time, looking at that notification. 50,000 back, 405,000 more to go. Then I got up, went to my garden. The tomatoes were ripe now. I picked a few, still warm from the afternoon sun. Margaret came out, saw me, and came over. How did it go? It's over, I said. She signed the settlement. Margaret hugged me. How do you feel? I thought about it, really thought about it. Tired, sad, but also free. We stood there in the garden, the late afternoon light golden, the crickets starting to chirp, life going on, the way it does. The next 60 days were a blur of bank notifications. 3 payments, $200,000, $200,000, $55,000, each one arriving exactly on schedule. Lisa liquidated everything. The leased car went back. The designer clothes were sold. She borrowed money from her ex-husband's family. David helped her, apparently, despite everything. The offshore account was emptied and transferred back. By mid-September, every penny was returned, $437,000, plus the $50,000 she'd returned earlier when she got scared, plus $18,000 in legal fees. My 401k balance showed $512,000. The original $487,000 plus 1 year of growth. My retirement was restored. The no-contact order was filed with the court. Lisa couldn't come within 100 yards of my house. No calls, no texts, no emails. For 1 year minimum. Renewable if I chose. She'd started the treatment program, 90 days inpatient at a facility in Columbus. Tommy told me she was actually going, attending the sessions, working with a therapist. Whether she'd stick with it after the inpatient portion ended, that remained to be seen. Her credit was destroyed from the forced liquidation. The family on her father's side wouldn't speak to her. Word had gotten around. In a small town, these things travel. Margaret still came over every morning for coffee. It was our ritual now. Had been for over a year, rain or shine. 7:30, her knock on my door. "You did it," she said one morning. We were sitting at my kitchen table, the same table where everything had started. "I don't feel like I won anything," I said. "You won yourself back." She squeezed my hand. "That counts." I thought about her daughter, the one studying law. "How's Sarah doing?" "She decided to specialize in elder law because of you. She wants to help people like you fight back." Margaret smiled. "You inspired her. You inspired a lot of people." I didn't feel inspiring. I felt tired, but maybe that was okay. Tommy drove up every other weekend now, sometimes with Jennifer and Marcus, sometimes alone. We'd have dinner, work in the garden, fix things around the house that needed fixing, the things Tom used to do. One Saturday afternoon, we were replacing a broken section of fence. Tommy hammered in a post while I held it steady. "I'm sorry I didn't believe you at first, Mom," he said, not looking at me, focused on the hammer. "You wanted to keep the peace. I understand. But you're the one who mattered. You're my mom. I should have chosen you right away." I let go of the post, put my hand on his shoulder. "You chose me when it counted. That's what matters." He looked at me. His eyes were wet. "I miss her. I miss having a sister. But I can't pretend what she did was okay." "I know, honey." "Do you miss her?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. I miss the daughter I thought I had. The little girl who brought me dandelions. But that person, I don't know if she ever really existed, or if I just wanted her to. We finished the fence, stood back and looked at it. Solid, straight, it would last. I met with Eleanor one last time to officially close the case. Her office, the same beige walls, the same photo wall of elderly clients. "You're going up there," she said. She pointed to the wall. "If that's okay with you." "Why?" "Because you fought back, and because 3 other women came forward after hearing about your case. They're all suing their children now for financial abuse." She handed me a card. One of them asked if she could call you, to talk, if you're comfortable with that. I took the card. "Barbara," a phone number. "I'll think about it." "You did something important, Carol. You showed people it's possible to fight back, even against family." I left her office, drove home, felt strange, not happy exactly, but lighter somehow. That weekend, I planted new roses in the garden, Tom's favorite. I'd been putting it off, but it felt like time. Margaret helped me dig the holes. We worked in the sun, got dirt under our nails. It was therapeutic. Tom always said roses were tough, Margaret said, that they survive winters and come back stronger. He was right. I patted the soil around the first bush, about a lot of things. We planted 3 bushes, one for Tom, one for the me I used to be, one for whoever I was becoming. That evening, a letter arrived from the treatment facility, Lisa's handwriting on the envelope. I almost didn't open it, but I did. Mom, I'm 90 days sober from gambling. I see what I did now. The program showed me I was sick. That doesn't excuse it. I stole your security. I violated your trust. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know I'm working on being better. I hope someday you can believe that I love you. Lisa. I read it twice, folded it, sat with it for a while. Then I wrote back, brief, measured. Lisa, I'm glad you're getting help. I hope you succeed. But I need you to understand, my boundaries aren't punishment. They're protection. If you stay in recovery, maybe in time, we can rebuild trust. Slowly, one day at a time. That's all I can offer. Mom. I mailed it the next day. Didn't expect a response. Didn't need one. I updated my will with an estate planner Eleanor recommended. Everything to Tommy and Marcus now. Specific clause, Lisa receives $1, the legal minimum, so she can't contest it later. A trust for Marcus's college, $100,000 protected. Lisa can't touch it as trustee. Tommy has full control. I recorded a video statement explaining my decisions, why Lisa was removed, why the boundaries existed, just in case anything happened to me, so there'd be no confusion. I set up financial safeguards, 2-factor authentication on everything. All accounts require in-person verification for major changes. I meet with my financial advisor quarterly now, review every statement, every transaction. I'm not paranoid. I'm prepared. I had my first full night's sleep in months. Woke up to sunlight, made coffee, watched the news. Normal things. The anxiety that had been sitting on my chest for a year was gone. I sat on my porch that evening with iced tea, watched the sun go down, the crickets chirped. A car drove by. Margaret waved from her yard. I waved back. That night, I watched Jeopardy at 7 like I always did. Answered the questions out loud even though I was alone. Got most of them right. Tom would have been proud. I looked at his photo on the mantle. I did it, I told him. I stood up for myself. Finally. I think he would have smiled. It's been a year, my 69th birthday. I'm sitting in my living room. Not a big party this time. Just the people who matter. Tommy and Jennifer are here. Marcus is 7 now. He's showing me a drawing he made at school. A house, a garden, a grandmother. That's me, he says. I put it on my refrigerator next to all the others. Margaret brought coffee cake. Not lemon cake. We retired that one. She sits on my couch with Susan and Diane from book club. We meet every Tuesday now. Sometimes we talk about books. Sometimes we talk about other things. Resources for seniors, warning signs, how to protect yourself. I live alone. Same house Tom and I bought 42 years ago. My garden is thriving. The roses came in beautiful this year, red and pink. Tom's favorites. The tomatoes were late, but worth the wait. My 401k shows $512,000. I meet with my financial advisor every 3 months, review every statement. I know where every penny is. I'm not worried about running out of money anymore. I'm careful, but I'm not afraid. I think about Lisa sometimes. She completed the 90-day program. She's in outpatient care now. Tommy sees her occasionally. Says she's working, renting a small apartment, going to meetings. Whether she'll stay sober? I don't know. I hope so. But that's her journey now, not mine. The no-contact order is still in place. I renewed it for another year. Maybe someday we'll talk again. Maybe not. I'm not in a hurry either way. Emily and Jake, my grandchildren, I see them through Tommy. Every other weekend when he visits. They're getting so big. Emily's 13 now, braces off. Jake's 10. They ask about their mom sometimes. I tell them I hope she's doing well. That's all I can say. It's honest. Looking back at that birthday party, Lisa giving her speech about family, I realized she was right. Family does come first. I just had to learn that I'm family too. People ask if I regret suing her, taking my own daughter to court. Honestly, I regret that I had to, but I don't regret protecting myself. I learned something at 68 years old, something I should have learned earlier. That saying no isn't selfish, that boundaries aren't mean, that protecting what's yours isn't greedy. It's necessary. Family comes first, but sometimes you have to come first, especially when no one else will put you first. I volunteer at the Elder Law Clinic now, once a month. I talk to other seniors who are going through what I went through, children taking money, forging signatures, making them feel crazy. I tell them my story. I tell them it's not too late to fight back. 3 women have filed cases after talking to me. Barbara, Helen, Ruth, all in their 70s, all tired of being taken advantage of. I gave them Eleanor's card, told them they deserve their money back. If my pain helps one person protect themselves, then maybe it was worth it. My house is quiet most days, but it's a good quiet, peaceful. I water my garden. I read. I watch Jeopardy at 7 every night and answer the questions out loud. Tom would laugh at that, but I think he'd understand. Margaret knocks on my door every morning at 7:30, coffee in my kitchen. She tells me about her daughter. I tell her about my roses. We sit in comfortable silence, the kind you only get with real friendship. Some days I miss Lisa. I miss the daughter I thought I had, the little girl who brought me dandelions. But most days, I'm just grateful I fought back. I'm 69 years old. I live alone. My garden is beautiful. My retirement is secure. My boundaries are clear. Some days are hard. I won't pretend they're not. There are moments when I see a mother and daughter together in the grocery store and my chest aches. When Emily mentions her mom and I don't know what to say. When I look at that box in my office labeled 2024 and wonder if I should open it. But most days I'm okay. Better than okay, I'm free. What would you have done in my situation? Would you have sued your own child? Let me know in the comments. And if you've been through elder financial abuse, you're not alone. There are resources, legal aid societies, elder law attorneys like Eleanor, support groups. You don't have to suffer in silence. I'm here. I'm standing. I'm free. And nobody's going to take advantage of me again.